Welcome to User Personas. Today you're going to learn what user personas are, why UX designers use them, and then we're going to look at how we create one. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to define what a user persona is. Then you're going to also understand what the benefits of using them are, and you'll also understand what goes into creating a persona. So let's get started. When I say user persona, what do you think I mean? Well, a user persona is a snapshot representation of a group of humans. Think of it like a business card for a fictional character. As designers, we need to know who we're designing for, and the persona helps us visualize and connect with them. The persona includes three really important things. It has a name and a face. Now, these are typically fictional, but we really need to see the person's face in order to connect with them. That's part of the empathy that we're going for. Then there's also demographic information. And this is completely based in fact. We need to know the details of the person that we're designing for. How old are they? What do they do for a living? What are their hobbies? We learn as much as we can about this person, about the target user group in our research portion that we did prior to making the persona. We also want to see pains and gains. Even more than demographics, we need to be able to understand the underlying motivations and frustrations of our user persona. Again, these are based in fact. We really want to have a full picture of what this persona is like, and it helps us tap into the emotions so that we can connect with them. So why do we create with personas? Well, I've kind of touched on it. It's part of human-based design. This is all about creating empathy. Instead of designing a software or a product or a service on what would be the preferences of the design team, the persona steps in to represent the people that we're designing for. They serve as the voice of the user, and it helps us step out of ourselves and connect with them. And we keep coming back. We're not just going to create this deliverable, set it on a shelf, and not come back to it. No, it's a living document. We want to come back to it throughout the project so that we can remember what it is that we need to do and who we're designing for. Now, I like to keep a persona nearby whenever I'm going through a project. I can think of like, what is best for Dave? What is best for Lauren? What is best for Rick? What are the things that they're looking for? And because it's like a business card, I can look at the snapshot of, oh, those are the pains. Those are the things that they're really feeling. Let's make sure that the decisions that we're making now are going to really help solve those pains. Well, now that we understand what personas are and why we create them, let's talk about how we actually create them. Now, we create user personas after our initial research and before we start ideating any kind of solutions. And here's why. User personas may have a fictional name and a fictional photo to represent them, but everything else is based in fact. So you have to do the research that leads up to who it is that we're creating for. And that might include user interviews, surveys, literature reviews, all the kinds of things that really delve into the nitty-gritty of who these people are. And then we're going to look at all of the research, all of that we just did to get a really good picture of the user persona's needs, their goals, their motivations, and their frustrations. So when do we create them? Or how do we create them? Let's talk about that. We gather the data first. I just mentioned all of the research that goes into it, and that's really important. And once you get all that research, you kind of have to pull it out all the bits. So here's an example of something called an affinity diagram that I created from a project. I interviewed 6 millennials about their feelings about climate change. And I pulled out as much as I could from those interviews onto sticky notes that you can see here. And then I started to group them into categories where I could see trends and common threads. From that, I was able to analyze and find what was really important for me to solve. And when you analyze, you're going to take all of the information that you gather and look for patterns and common themes. Then we can start creating our persona. Now this is the part where we get have the fun. We get to describe the persona. The purpose here is to develop empathy and understanding for this person's needs. It includes the demographic details, including job, age, lifestyle, interests, all the things that are going to be important for the design team to know. And then you also want to show those goals, those motivations, those needs and frustrations. You can also include a quote or a description, which would help even more solidify what it is that this persona needs. Here's an example of one I created. This is Lauren. She's got her demographic profile, and all of this is based in fact. I also had goals, frustrations, and motivations that I was working from. And again, all of this based in fact from the interviews that I did for my project. Now, you can create your persona using tools that you're comfortable with. Some people create them in Photoshop, some in Figma or Sketch. This one I created in PowerPoint, actually. So it's really up to you. Well, congratulations. Today, you learned about user personas and how to create one. Now it's time to take what you learned and practice your skills. Best of luck.